I hear nothing. Why am I hearing nothing? You're pointing at me. What am I doing wrong? I'm live, but I can't hear you. Did you just? Oh my lord! What are we doing? I'm so wow. Why did you go live with just me? Because you can. There we go. All right, I see you now. I can't hear you, but I can see you. We're fixing this live. There's no post, just live. Da, da, da. Yes. You told me to start. Oh, I heard audio for a second.
What?
There it is. There's audio. Woo-hoo.
Okay. Yes. Oh, and by the way, Jay, it is my USB on the top of my case. It is going out. Just BT dubs.
Which can probably cause problems with your computer booting.
Right. And it just because it's not connecting. All right. So let's try this. Trust issues, because I don't fucking trust my computer to last that long. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
I'm not saying anything. No,
it's cool. It's cool.
It sounds like you were given a defective product.
How's that putting other people down so that you can feel better about yourself, Sean? Oh no, we're calling those behaviors fucking out. Oh, do we want to talk about the last time you built me a computer? Speaking of trust issues, oh, do we want to go there?
Built or bought? Built or bought? Because I figured.
Built? Oh, you want to throw down the gauntlet and then not get your fucking ass called out on that?
Oh no, I figured that would happen at some point. That was later in the show.
No. If you want to go right ahead talking about defective products of somebody building me a computer, you want to go right ahead about trust issues? No, we laying that down right now. You open your mouth, you open that door, I kick that shit wide open. So you go ahead and tell our audience why I'm not going to let that shit slide.
That's different.
Or I will. So you can control the narrative, or I can.
I mean, I thought this was going to be later in the episode, but okay.
Oh, no. You want to bring it down. You want to open your mouth now? You can. Yep. What did you learn? What did you learn? You learned that if you want to run your mouth because of your trauma, I will call that shit out. Go ahead. Tell our friends at home why this is a big trust issue situation for me, and why I'm not going to let a snide comment like that slide.
All right, so, yeah, that's exactly right, Gavino. All right, so back in the college days, this was after we had stopped dating. I had some trust issues. What?
I love how you had. I have some trust issues.
No, I had lots of trust issues.
I would like it noted I would like that we at this point are no longer dating. He is actually dating somebody else.
No, at that point I don't think I was dating anybody else.
Okay, either way.
Yeah, either way. So you had when you started school, you need a new computer. And so, I helped you. I think I helped you get that computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was working for a computer company. I think we had built it. Anyway, so as I had said, even if I don't trust someone, or even if I want to trust someone, I don't trust it. I don't trust them, and I begin looking for reasons to distrust. And so I don't even aside from flat out stating it, I'm not even sure how to approach it.
Well, then just flat out statement. This is called being vulnerable and open to our audience, Sean.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um. This is tough.
Being honest.
Being vulnerable with everybody, and yeah. So I was looking for, because we were still friends, and I was looking, but I was actually looking for a reason to not trust you as my friend, which is sad.
The theme of pretty much the theme of our relationship, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as an IT, I decided to use my IT skills for evil. And so I put a little bug on her machine.
Tell them what it is.
What it was? It was a keystroke. Yeah. So it captured keystrokes. Yeah, I was that bad off, that distrustful.
The prank one or the spying one?
This is the spying one. So, yeah.
And it would bug up my computer, and I'd ask him to come fix it, and then he would pull all the stuff off of it when he'd come to fix it. Until one day, one of our other IT person came in and went, "You realize you have this on your computer, right?" I was like, "No, I didn't know anything at the time. I was just like, okay, whatever." I didn't even think anything of it. Like, that my other friend took it off, and I was like, "Oh," and I told Sean, I was like, "Hey, there's this bug. I guess and then, he was all like, "Well, I guess you got it when you download," because this was the years of Napster and downloading everything illegally. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I was dumb and I downloaded it," before everybody was tech savvy at that point. Until we rebooted, and then he told me.
Yeah. That was after we rebooted and we were catching up. We were talking about everything over the last 15 years. So I chose to come clean about what I did, because I was wanted to be honest and wanted to start fresh when we rebooted. So yeah, so that's the reason I'm not allowed to touch any of her machines.
And that's why his snarky comment about Jay giving me a defective machine was not going to fly. Because I was like, no, you don't get to make snarky comments when you don't even have, no.
Yeah. So we have, so that was definitely not a good time that in my life. That was very, very unfortunate. So that is how far my distrust goes. And that is actually something that there's still that part of me, that part of me that protectionist part of me still exists. It's still there. That stuff, the part of me that drew that made me do that doesn't just disappear. It's managed. And so that part of me does, to be completely honest, that part of me still does come up. That part of me that goes, find the thing. It's there. You need to find it. You need the evidence. Find the evidence. You can't trust her. You can't trust someone. Find the evidence to prove that you can't. It's still there. It still talks.
If I had $1 for every time after Sean's therapy session, he says his therapist goes, "So what has she done to prove that you can't trust her?" And Sean will sit there and go, "Nothing." Actually, the opposite.
Quite, yeah. He's like, "So why don't you trust her?" Yeah. It is still a struggle. It is still something that I struggle with. I won't even say that I won't even say that it's still something that I manage and it still comes up, but it's still something that I actively deal with. That distrust of, I need to find the evidence. I need to prove the story that I'm telling myself.
And it's always the story, and this is the thing that I never understood, even back when you finally told me about the thing, and back and I don't understand what you were looking for. Like, I still don't understand what you're looking for. Like, why you are looking for, why you don't trust that I have your best interest at heart, even though time and time again, I have been like, I have specifically done this. I have done this. Here is the evidence of how you can. Here's what, here, like XYZ. Like, I have it in text. I have it in emails. I have, like, here is like black and white proof. And yet you're still looking for evidence that I'm going to hurt you. And though I have hurt you, I don't think I've ever hurt you as egregiously as like your distrust of me. Like, it's a disproportionate response. Does that make sense? So it's like I have my own trust issues, and this is why, again, why Sean is not allowed to touch my computer. Like, I love him. But when it's like, no, you're not allowed to touch my shit. You're not allowed to touch my shit. Period. End of story. Like,
and I accept that.
And it is not that I'm hiding anything from him. It is just one of those boundaries that I had to set up because of that. And it's not that I don't trust Sean, but I mean, there are consequences to your actions. So, but it's I mean, and I am the same way in that I don't trust people. Like, I don't trust, like, I get very paranoid. It's like, think of the worst case scenario.
What is that part of you saying? What's that voice?
Oh, the distrust?
Yeah, because my distrust is saying one thing. What is your distrust saying?
My distrust is saying is that they're lying. They're always lying. Always lying. Like, I have spent my entire life, and I know this goes back to my childhood. I know it goes back to my parents, even my mom, and even my dad, in that they would tell me one thing. They would say one thing, and I was gaslit so badly. And I even with the evidence, and it also goes back to the church. It's like, you have this, and you're telling me this, but the evidence is not supporting that, or your actions are not supporting that, or you are doing the opposite of that. And so the cognitive dissonance over time and the distrust of people is that I can't trust, especially when it comes to things like relying on other people. Like, hey, I need help. Hey, I want you to be there. Hey, will you show up for me? Hey, this is important to me. Hey, I need something. And then they're like, sure, I'll be there. Sure. I yes. And I'm like, okay. And I don't, but there was always a debt to be paid. There was always a string attached. There was always or just not even a follow through. And then I was left holding the bag. I was left with the disappointment and the shame and the hardness and just the blind, like, oh, I needed to trust somebody. And I couldn't. And living with that is awful. I remember the first time, like, the very first time, like, I had this absolutely blind trust in Seaworks, like blind. Like, I trusted him. We had gotten married. We were like, everything was solid. And then we found out about his problem and just how wrecked I was. And I never went back after that. I mean, I learned to trust him in a different way. So I built that trust up again, but it was not the same. It's never the same. And I think what crushed me so much, it was like the first time I had actually fully trusted someone like that since I was a kid. I think that's what hurt so much about it.
Yeah.
But
with my ex, there was so much that was hidden. There was so much that was hidden that I didn't find out until later. And like, well, if only, so that part of me that one that says, "Oh, there's evidence, I just have to find it," is strengthened, is like given like it feels like it's justified. Like, oh, well, if I had just seen this red flag, if I had just seen that, if I had just dug harder, found more out, like, and unfortunately, that doesn't stop with one person. It's not like, okay, so my relationship with my ex is over, and I'm with someone else, and it's like the slate is clean. I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't. And so I
Mhm.
carry that distrust into the next relationship. Um, and it's and so then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to let that person do this to me. I'm not going to let my next relationship get one over on me. And so I'm constantly looking for. I'm convinced that the story I'm telling myself is real. It has to be real. It has to be the thing. It has to be true. And I just need to find the evidence for it, and it
Um,
becomes very consuming for
mhm.
me.
The same with I when I first started my intensive therapy, 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago now. Shoo. But it was very much like my feelings told me the truth. And my
Hmm.
feelings, now I am not saying my feelings were not valid. They were valid because they were a trauma response. But what my nervous system created as a feeling then created the thought, which then created my reality. And
Hmm.
so so instead of sitting with I am feeling anxious and unsettled because this person may or may not have like done a thing that triggered, and I was triggered and feeling this way, not that the person actually did the thing. That what I was thinking is, this person is doing something, and they're doing the thing that is the trigger, that is the thing, and that is the reality, when it wasn't that.
Yes, absolutely.
What the reality is my nervous system kicked in because I was triggered by something, even if it was just a passing thought because of my trauma.
Hmm.
The thought created the feeling then created the story, and then the story became the reality.
Yes.
And but the thing is the thought is just a thought, and the feeling is just a feeling, and that doesn't make it reality. And that was a hard one for me to decipher, because it's like, but you're telling me to trust myself. Okay, but what is the feeling actually telling you? What is
Hmm.
having that thought actually telling you, and where is it actually coming from? And that is where I had to trust myself, and I had to go, do I have, which is why DBT, especially for those with borderline, and it's very easy to get lost in the feelings, because the feelings are amplified so much that you can't see past that in the feelings. You are feeling triggered, so the trigger has to be true. Well, then I had to sit back and go, okay, what is the evidence? What is the evidence that this person hurt me, or this person is out to get me, or this person is that what I'm really getting presented with? Or am I triggered and I am creating evidence to prove why my feeling is valid? But my
Hmm.
feelings are valid. That doesn't make them true.
Mm.
And that's hard. That is
Mm.
hard to validate the nervous system going into hyperdrive and being triggered. Okay, you had that trauma, so yes, you're going to get triggered, but let's call a spade a spade. You are triggered and having this feeling of insecurity and doubt and pain and hurt, and those are all valid. But those aren't necessarily the that person caused that. That is a wound that got poked at. That person is sitting there just living their life, and it got poked, and so you are creating this person because you are projecting your trauma onto them,
Mm.
which then creates trust issues.
Yeah. Absolutely. I deal with that exact same thing. My imagination, I have a very creative imagination, for better and worse. Um I will create these ideas, these images, these stories in my head about what could happen, what might exist. And that immediately I get triggered. And that starts that cycle of, and then I become fixated on that idea, that story. Like, and that's just that, and it's no basis in reality, but I'm triggered. And so it's difficult for me to respond to that in a healthy way. That's what I'm working on and trying to get better at is I feel triggered and then it builds and exactly what you said. And then the person did nothing. The person it's not based in reality. And yet now I've built this distrust that it might happen, that they could do it. And then I'm looking for the worst. I'm expecting the worst out of that person. And I think some of it comes from trying to protect myself. If I experience this now, then when I tell myself when it happens, because I'm sure it'll happen, then I'll be able to deal with it better. It won't hurt as much. But I'm hurting myself worse by doing that because it's something that probably will never happen. And so I'm experiencing the hurt unnecessarily. And it's painful. It hurts so much. And it hurts the person that it's about. Because they didn't do anything. Oh, it's awful.
And the worst is then you can't trust yourself either.
That is correct.
And I still struggle to this like earlier today. I can't trust myself, especially like, is what I'm feeling valid? Is I'm angry? Is being angry okay? Am I angry at this person because what they did was all right, or am I creating a villain and them in my head? Am I distrustful of myself, of my feelings, even the good ones? And this is the part that fucking sucks because trust issues don't extend to other people. They always, it's like this black hole. It's internal, and then it just sort of sucks everything else into that distrust within yourself. And I don't know how many times that my therapist says, just trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. And I'm like, I don't trust myself. And I literally have yelled at her and just said, I don't trust myself. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means because I have lied to myself so often. I don't know what that means. My nervous system has lied to me. My trauma has lied to me. My brain has lied to me. My heart has lied to me. It has fucking lied to me. So how am I supposed to be able to trust myself? And it takes time. And I still don't. There are still parts of me that I'm like, I don't, because I don't have, and I what I've discovered is that it's not that I don't trust myself, it's that I don't have the vocabulary to explain it to myself. So I try very hard instead of going like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I try to just sit. Okay, I try to sit with what I know. I know I'm feeling X. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's a big deal or a small deal because I can't trust because of my trauma. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to sit in it and I'm going to trust the things that I do know. And what I do know is that I'm safe. What I do know is that I'm healing. What I do know is that I have trauma, that I am informed about that trauma. Do I know exactly where I'm sitting with why I'm feeling this way or thinking this way or having the urges to behave a certain way? No, I do not. And I don't trust that. But the big question is especially when it comes to like my behaviors, I often sit and go, okay, regardless of whether this is a choice, like I don't trust myself, period. But it's like, is my urge to be destructive or constructive? And what am I soothing? What am I trying to soothe? Because that usually helps me go, okay, if I am trying to soothe a wound that this person never inflicted upon me, then this has nothing to do with the person. I am just triggered by this person. And they don't mean to. People don't mean to. People like, here's an example. People don't mean to trigger you. Mm-hmm. And especially before you start healing and you start that self-awareness and it's like innocuous phrases.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They'll just say something and you are instantly put back wherever it is where that trauma went. And they don't know that. They're not out to get you.
Yeah.
But your brain tells you that they are because they said the thing that other person that hurt you did.
It needs that. I think that, yeah.
Yeah.
They played a song that had a connection to another person and you're like immediately jarred, triggered by it.
Or like, here's an example. Jay had said a phrase. I'm like, we were talking about, because I was signing up for benefits and stuff with my job. And I had said something about life insurance and shit like that. And he goes, he said the phrase, I'm worth more dead than alive. Which, you get these life insurance policies worth a lot of money. Some people are worth a lot of money dead. Not that we want anybody to die, but I mean, that's just with these policies. Mm-hmm. My mom used to say that all the time as a guilt trip. She was like, you don't want me to get better. You don't want any of this because I'm worth more than a lot more. It's just, it'll be fine. Like it's that whole need to validate her life existence. So she would say that sent me into a motherfucking spiral.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He didn't say that to guilt me into anything. He didn't say it. He was just said it. Mm-hmm. But had I not been in a place where I was like, informed of my healing, I would have been like, what the fuck's your deal? Like, just all about that. But then I said, nope. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to need to hang up. I will talk to you in a little bit.
Yes. There you go. Yeah, because the people in our lives don't mean to do that. And we are triggered by things that are innocuous, that very well could be or should be innocuous, but we have trauma related to them.
Ooh.
Phrases.
All right, go ahead.
No, I was just say phrases, music, spells. It's a lot of phrases come about. Yeah, go ahead.
The many faces of trust issues.
I was just looking at that.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, let's control freak tendencies.
What? I don't know who's going. Yeah, that's me. The problem is me. I am a control freak. When I have laid out a plan in my head, and I don't mean like we have figured out a plan. I mean like I have figured out a plan. I have decided on the plan. And things don't go according to that plan. I am not a happy pep. I am a... That's putting it mildly, isn't it? I respond. Not only do I respond negative. Yeah, exactly. Failure's not an option. Not only do I respond negatively, but I will turn that on the other person as if they did that, whatever changed, as if they did that in order to hurt me. Because that is how I process. That is how I've learned to deal with stuff. Is if I can make someone the enemy and the villain.
Hi, it's me. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. We're making jokes because this is really just so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Asta.
Hey, Asta. By far, it is not limited to you. It has happened for my entire life. But currently, you do often bear the brunt of that. Yes. Yeah. So it. Now, wait. I tell my therapist that sometimes too, but that's because they're good at their job. So,
well, and also understand, unless you are like some people with their medical systems, and I don't know how your medical system is there. I get that sometimes you have no choice. But if you don't like them, you absolutely can get a new therapist. And I know it's a pain in the ass. I am 100% aware it's a pain in the ass to try to get a new one. I'm not allowed to minimize my trauma.
That kind. Yeah,
there you go. Okay. No, stick with that one.
When you don't calls you out, my therapist goes, we're gonna stop right here for a minute.
If you don't like them because they're not allowing you to do the thing that you've been constantly doing and making you hurt and feel, that's the one you need to stick with.
Yeah, stay there. Exactly.
Stay there. It's the one where you're sitting with and just talking to, and you feel happy and hunky-dory every week. I mean, obviously you're not supposed to feel shitty every week, but especially when you're doing the trauma work is like PT. It's gonna suck. Physical therapy, if anybody has been there, it hurts. You are retraining your muscles. You are relearning things, and it sucks and it hurts, and you're gonna hurt afterward for days afterwards, but you still got to do the work. And the work sucks. But you're not alone, Asta, because I literally told my therapist that she'd said some things. I was like, you know what? You don't need to be earning your paycheck today. I'm not in the mood for you to be right today. So.
I think if our therapists are good, we've said that at some point. She's like, no, I don't need you. I don't need this today. I don't need you to be good at your job today.
I was like, and why are you? You don't need me.
You can stop now.
But control tendencies are absolutely about trust issues. If I cannot control the other person, if I can't control the situation, I am just as guilty about that. If I can't control the situation or the person, if I don't know everything that's going to happen or how to manipulate it to make it happen,
I will go into joking passive aggressive. This used to be my personality, by the way. This, especially back like college 20s period, this was my personality. I would then begin like poking at them as in like, oh, well, making there's a lot of quotation fingers in here. Making jokes because it's not really a joke. Making a joke about, oh, well, you didn't, you did this happened on purpose, or you didn't really want to see me, or like pushing that passive aggressiveness I'm just joking. It's just joking. Like that was me. I absolutely, I know.
I'm sorry you made my eye twitch. If you know how many times I heard that phrase.
You have been on that other side of that many, many a time.
And I think that for me, I have avoided that phrase because of that.
I do too. Well, in my healing, I've learned the whole like the joking thing. If the other person's not laughing, it wasn't a joke. So yeah, that I'm trying to. I'm definitely, that's something that I've been trying to avoid. But I would do that. I would push and poke at them and attempting to make them feel bad for something that a lot of times the other person had no control over. Because I didn't know how to deal with my own. It's okay to be unhappy when things change. It's okay to not when plans change for whatever reason. It's okay to go, well, yeah, that sucks. I didn't like that. I wish that didn't happen. I'm upset or disappointed. It's okay for me to feel that. It's not okay for me to take it out on the other person. But that's unfortunately what I did when I was younger, is I would take it out on them, and then usually in a passive aggressive way. So, yeah.
Overthinking and reading between the lines of every interaction. Welcome to the Overthinkers Club right here. We have t-shirts and we're going to overthink the wording, the font choice every single time. And the reason being is because I think for me, I know my parents, like stories, or like I know I could rehash all of the stories of when I would say something to my parents and they would like later on lose their shit on me. And I'm like, what? that's not what I said. But in their head, what they heard, now I'm learning the difference between what I said versus what somebody else heard is two totally different things. And so every time I have an interaction with somebody, professional, personal, doesn't matter, I will sit there, and especially if it's like a place where I'm talking about my wants or talking about my needs, or I disagree with somebody, I will sit and I will be like, overthink everything, the tone of voice. What did they say? Why did they say it? Did they mean something else by it? What were they not saying?
I have the superpower of finding single words and hanging on to a single word, and that is me. The reason I do that is because that is what I did. I was the person, again, personality. I was the person who used language to my advantage. I was very selective in words and phrases so that I could use them to manipulate people. Well, that's not what I said.
Can we put that in present tense, please? Mm-hmm.
Sure. That
is... Now, granted, you have gotten better. I am not going to minimize your growth. You have gotten better about that. It is not every other conversation. Yeah. However,
that is correct. But I think the reason I overthink and will fixate on individual words is because I was the person who would use words in order to create, in order to manipulate. And so I'm looking for the other person to do the same thing. I'm expecting that if they used a specific word, there was a reason for that. And that means something. And so then I fixate on what exactly did that mean? Why did they use that word? When in reality, it was because the word came out of their mouth. It meant nothing. It meant nothing, but I will fixate. I do fixate on that. And it's because I'm overthinking. I'm trying to protect myself, and I'm trying to, because it's never like fixating in a positive way. It's never fixating. Well, they meant that must mean this positive thing. That must mean they really care about me. No, it's always the opposite. It's always the bias for the negative that I fixate on.
I mean, I'm the same way. But I don't do it in a reactive way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tone police. Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but that has all like the I mean, especially those who have had relationship trauma, where that is one of those like, I'm fine. Well, that's not fine. That's not the tone of being fine. Yeah. That is not the actions of being fine. You're not talking to me. But you said you said you were fine. But it's very obvious you're not fine. You know. Mm-hmm. And half the time it's just like they say they're fine. Maybe they had a bad day and they just need some space or whatever. But you never take it that way. You're like, what the fuck did I do? And you're going through the Rolodex. There are certain phrases
in our lexicon which are nearly impossible to take at face value.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to talk, and it's fine.
Again. Okay. Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or self-sabotaging relationships when they start feeling too vulnerable.
Yeah, those go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always waiting for the shoe drop. It feels so uncomfortable to be in a good place. To be in there's something wrong. I find myself feeling this happening all the time. If I'm not feeling anxious, something's wrong. It's just because I'm not thinking hard enough. It's because I'm not. Anxious is such my default that not feeling anxious feels weird, and then I will find something to feel anxious about.
Mine is not the other shoe dropping. It's the other shoe, like literally smacking you, like stepping on your face. Chocolate right there.
Yeah, exactly.
My Filipino side coming out, like, but it's very much the because the reason we don't trust peace, the reason we don't trust calm, is the same reason that parents don't trust silence, because calm and peace is never safe.
Mm-hmm. It's precursor,
because the moment you feel calm and at peace, it just means I'm missing something. It means that I am not paying attention. It means that something is about to come out or has come out, that this person, especially when you're with narcissistic people and you're raised by narcissistic people, when you are feeling good, they can't allow you to feel good, because feeling good about yourself, feeling good about it's secure is not serving them. So then all of a sudden, when you feel good, that means you feel confident and you feel these things, which then triggers them. So if you are feeling good, confident, and whatever, then that triggers them and whatever insecurity and trauma and whatever they're dealing with. And then that trigger explodes in your face, and you are burnt and you are beat up and you're barraged and you have no idea why. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to realize that's because my confidence triggered that part of that person by just me existing. And that's not on me, but I took it, especially when you're a kid, you take that on, and then that goes into your relationships. So you're like, well, I know that the bomb is going to go off, so I might as well trigger it, because at least if I trigger it, I'm prepared.
It's a controlled explosion.
I can protect myself. Whereas when I don't know that the bomb is gonna explode, I'm putting myself at risk. But if I'm the one, if I like the self-sabotaging, if I'm the one setting the bomb off, then I've already set up measures in my head to protect myself. So it's fine. Mm-hmm. And that's how you justify it.
Yes.
The boomerang chancla.
I remember as a kid, if I acted up, me and my brother acted up, whatever, we would get wait till we get home, wait till your dad gets home.
I'll be right back.
There was that, it wasn't, we're going to deal with this right now. It was, you just wait until this thing happens. And during that period of time was this quiet, this almost peace, because like no one was acting up. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to say anything. So I immediately went like into trying to be the perfect kid, because I didn't want the thing to happen. But then, so there was this almost like this lull, this peace, for a period of time. And I thought, as a child, if I could just be perfect enough, if I could not act up anymore, if I could maintain this peace at this moment, maybe the parents would like forget about it. And like it, but inevitably, after this period of quiet and calm, the punishment always happened. So so every time that there was some sort of like quiet, calm peace, there was pain on the other end of it. There was something bad was going to happen on the end. And then followed that up into my last relationship, where conflict was frowned upon. What felt like everything was okay, there was no conflict. Everything's okay. We're fine. We're good, because there's no conflict. Inevitably, the conflict would happen, but it was never a minor conflict. It was always a big blow up, instead of dealing with the stuff. And so anytime I feel like there was peace or calm, there was always there always seemed to be this inevitable explosion at some point on the end of it. So I never could trust quiet, calm, peace. There was always, oh, things are good right now. Oh yeah, that's right. When I get home, I'm gonna get beat. Okay, great, awesome, fantastic. There's always that thing. If I was okay right now, it was because I wasn't thinking about the thing that's gonna end up happening.
Oh, and it was very much like, speaking of a relationship trauma, I mean, yes, our parents would do that a lot. But like in that, I had several partners who would, everything's good. Like we're out in public, everything's good. Everything's, we're talking and they're like, I will have said something that upset them. But because we're in public or we're presenting as a couple or whatever, and
in the
right. Yeah. And then they start acting weird, but you don't think about it. You're like, oh no, everything's good. Everything's fine. And friends do this too. Don't even get me wrong. Friends do this too. And you can tell, especially over time with all your trauma and hyper awareness, you can tell. And then that's when the overthinking of what you said and all this stuff happens. But everything's good. Like they haven't said anything. There was no clapback. There was no any of that. Like you're driving home. They're a little quiet, but I mean, you're talking away because you had a good time. Then either that night when you get home, when they're in the safety of the house, or maybe the next day after they've had time to stew over it, all of a sudden they would hit you with it. Mm-hmm. And then your view of the entire night changes. And you're like, what? Like, you didn't say anything. You didn't, I didn't mean to. That's not what I meant. But they were sitting in this, stewing over it forever, and you had no idea.
Yeah.
And even what they heard was not what you said. Mm-hmm. Because trauma or past experience, or maybe even it's just a sensitive subject or whatever. But there's a way to approach it where it doesn't feel like a bomb's going to explode in your face.
And that's the difference right there. It always felt like the bomb. It always felt like an explosion, not a, hey, I've been thinking about this. Can we talk about this? This is what I heard. It was never a healthy conversation. Mm-hmm. Because because I think that's reasonable. If something happens, you may not want to have that conversation out in public, but there's a point where you're like, okay, can we talk about this? And that never happened. It was always, boom,
instant accusations, instant
you
blame.
Did this and you
must have meant this, and it's one of those, okay, and they have a right to be upset if you upset them by something you said. And that's fine, and maybe you take offense of it and you get triggered, and of course, like sometimes the conversations turn into an argument, okay, but again, it can be constructive conflict. But that's why I never, and I don't know about you, Sean, that's why I never trusted anything I said in public over time. And I learned how to be perfect and present perfection. Say the right thing at the right time, be able to be hyper aware, because I didn't trust myself to say the right thing and do the right thing, because if I said and did the wrong thing, it was going to mean harm for me in some way, shape, or form. So I didn't trust myself, so I stopped becoming authentically myself because of that.
Everything was measured, because you never knew when something that you said, even innocuous, could be.
That's emotional abuse. That's called stonewalling, and it is an emotional abuse.
It is.
It is it's emotional manipulative tactic that, trust me, Sean and I are very much I mean,
I have been on both sides.
Like him and I both have done it. Like it's
and I will still catch myself doing it. I still will go if I'm feeling something, instead of talking about it, I will find myself going, you know what, I'm just not going to respond to that text message, or no, I'm just not going to talk to them, or I'm going to, whether or not they know it, I'm still doing it. And it's not healthy. It's still it
becomes a manipulative tactic, which again, distrust in that piece, and the distrust and having the trust issues and the silence, and that's why a lot of people with that type who have been used that against hate silence when they're with somebody they trust. That's why they constantly need to be talking to them. They constantly need to be saying something. They constantly need to be doing something. I am 100% that person. I am 100% like that. Comfortable silence is never comfortable. And it's like so many people, especially those who aren't sitting in their trauma, have asked, like, why can't you just sit in silence? What is about that is so uncomfortable with you? Because I don't trust the silence. I don't trust the silence. The silence always meant something. Something. This is something. Oh shit. This is something. This is something me and my therapist every week for months. Since I started with this new one, it's like, not everything is a big deal. Not everything means something, which is a trust issue. I don't trust things at face value, like silence or like a neutral situation or whatever. I don't trust things at face value because they were never face value growing up. And to use the evidence, the file cabinet, she likes to use file cabinets, the evidence that I have, or I like to use the computer code. The code that is written in my brain is that nothing is face value. Something is always going to hurt me.
Yep.
I don't hear from my friends for months. I totally freak out and get the feeling. Yes.
And I feel the same way. Like silence, or even when there's not a positive interaction, I get in my head and begin wondering what I did wrong. What bomb is going to drop? What did I screw up along the way? And I grew up in a very passive aggressive home. So
what?
I know, right? What? Nobody could ever imagine that's actually how I grew up. And so for me, nothing was ever presented. Nothing was ever like, hey, we need to talk about this. There was never that let's have a conversation. Everything was dealt with passive aggressively. So I was always looking out for the underlying hidden meaning. Growing up passive aggressive in the South, what? No, that's crazy talk. Yeah, everything was double meaning. And so when I interact with someone who speaks openly, honestly, plainly, I was giving that a moment. Yeah. I am then looking for the undertone. I'm searching, like there has to be some other meaning behind what is being said.
The fairy tale Sean creates in his head from shit that I have said could be its own motherfucking book. Its own motherfucking book. It's almost like a choose your own adventure book. Like, here we go. Yeah.
I mean, I could write papers and dissertations on one word and the meaning behind phrases and individual words and conversations. So
also during arguments when they go silent, it feels if the ground is being pulled out from under me. Yes. I feel that a lot. I call that the crazy girl look. And let me tell you why. A lot of times, especially with Searugs, is he is not a verbal processor. And what I have realized and come to discover is our conflict styles. And I will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk because that's me processing my feelings, what I'm feeling right now, especially when I'm triggered. But for him, he gets overloaded. So then and Sean's the same way. Like like I'll talk and talk and talk and talk and talk because that is how I process. I'll like random ramblings of a rug. So when I first started my intensive therapy, and that's where it started going with that, is I'd go live to just process. And it's like, you show up for my processing or not, whatever. But what I realized is that when it was directed at one person, especially the people I surround myself with, I overloaded them. And so when they went silent, I felt like they stopped listening. And they did in an aspect, they did stop listening, but because I've overloaded their system, because now they're thinking a bunch of things, they are feeling a bunch of things, they are trying to process, but to me, their processing has then re-triggered me. And I'm like, you're not listening, because my big trigger is being heard and being seen, especially when in a dysregulated state. So I didn't trust their silence because I thought that they just stopped listening, waiting for the crazy to be over. Literally, that's the phrase I would use. You're just waiting for the crazy to be over. When that's not the case, they're just trying to process, and I'm not giving them the second to process. And I had to come to that terms with me that they're, by me being triggered, has then triggered something in them, which then re-triggers another wound, which then perpetuates a very vicious cycle.
It does.
I don't trust the silence. They don't trust because they're being bombarded. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, that was something I dealt with my ex, and that's something that we've had to deal with. Is I specifically remember, just as an example, not trying to call you out or anything, just as an example of you. It was one of those you were telling me exactly how you felt. There was a lot of it. You had a lot of.
I had a lot of things to say.
You had a lot of things to say, rightly so. I think it was something that I said, something I did, and you were upset, and you wanted me to understand that. And at the very end of it, like after you had told me all these things, and I'm listening, I'm trying to listen to it, and I'm trying to take it in. You stopped, and then like I didn't have an immediate response, and so you responded with like, "Don't you have anything to say? Don't you have? What are you thinking? Like, what are?" Like, you weren't attacking me. You were expecting me to respond in a way that is similar to how you responded. And I think my silence triggered you. But for me, it was trying to drink from the fire hose. It was like I wanted to, and I had thoughts and I had feelings, but I don't process like Shane with Sirugs. I don't process like that. And I just feel overwhelmed. And you're right. There's a point where I'm so overwhelmed that I just kind of shut down. And not because I don't care. My brain just doesn't, it's just too much. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take the input anymore. But unfortunately, I was not at a place where I could go, okay, can we take a moment? Can we pause? Like, I didn't understand I didn't have words to express what I was dealing with. And I didn't in my past and with my ex, and and so I'm still working through that to be able to express it. And so, yeah, that's absolutely a thing.
Exactly, Nev. He said input buffer overflow. Yeah. And it like now I have to be very self-aware, especially in triggered stage, which is not easy. And I'm not perfect at it, and I still do it, but I have to be very conscious of, okay, where is his and it's not hyper vigilance, which is very different. It's very aware of, he's got to communicate, whoever I'm talking to, they got to communicate when they're over. Okay, I really want to, I am overloaded. I need a second. I want to come back to this. This is the big important one, because some people just walk away and just hope that it just fixes itself. No, I want to be present and in this, but I need time. I need 30 minutes. And it can't be long. It can't be like several hours. But I mean, I need an hour. I want to come back to this, but I am overloaded. I want to be able to hear you. And I need to be receptive of that and understand that that's not them being dismissive. And it's a hard thing because you don't trust that. Again, you've been hurt so many times. It's like, don't touch the stove. The stove is hot. The stove is hot. The stove is hot. Go ahead, touch the stove. Touch the stove. The stove's not on. Because with a gas stove, you see the flame. With the glass stove, the glass stove, you see. But like with electric stoves, they can be hot and still be black, so you don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to trust.
Yeah. Testing people to see if they will fail or stay.
Oh, that is one that will absolutely send a red flag. When I see that, like that makes me angry to see that. I'm not saying that I haven't done it. I'm just saying
I was like,
what does it to me.
What? Really? Really?
I was just saying when someone does it to me, especially the social media version of it. If your significant other doesn't respond to your message in 5 minutes, they owe you blah blah blah. Screw you. No.
The one that I hate that is so popular.
Mm-hmm.
It's that whole toxic masked as mental health and healthy is if he wanted to, he would, or if she wanted
toxic.
To, if they wanted to,
they would. That is very toxic. That you're absolutely. It does sound like a mental health snippet, like a very no, it's not. And
it's very much the reason I don't like this phrase, and it's that whole mental health or that toxic disguised as mental health and healthy, is that they don't know. If you don't communicate, see, that's the problem, is so many people think, well, if they wanted to, they would just know.
Psychic.
No, they don't. And that's unfair. That's unfair to me. That's unfair to you. That's unfair to the relationship. And then you are setting yourself up. You're testing them because they should just know.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. I am so guilty of that. I am 100% guilty of testing people. Like, it was very much especially in arguments, and especially in the whole here's the evidence about you didn't give me the compliment I wanted. You didn't give me the thing I wanted. You did this. And it was very much, you should have known. You should have known that I want this.
Yeah.
Unspoken things are not known until they are voiced. Exactly. And the problem is this is where it becomes very dangerous. Both, you testing people, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're not trusting that person at all. You're hoping. That's not trust. Hope and trust are two totally different things. And it's also different that if you've expressed the need, but have they received it?
Have they agreed to it? Not everybody can show up in every single way. Not everybody can show up in the way that you want them to show up. Not everybody is prepared for that, even if they want to. Not everybody is prepared in a place where they can show up in the way that you want them to show up. And you like you just said, you are setting everything up for failure. You're setting them up for failure because you're expecting them to show up in a certain way, not in a certain way at exactly. You're giving them a tiny box to show up in, and if they don't do that, that's failure. It's pass fail, and it's just.
And it's pass fail on a test that they didn't know that they were taking.
Yeah, they didn't
agree to. And it's distrust. Yeah. It's trustful. I'm going to test them. I'm going to test them and test their love because I don't trust that they really love me, or I've been hurt before. Again, it goes back to I don't trust this person because somebody else hurt me. Yes. And then when they fail, it's that self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, I told you. When they had no problem passing the test, but you didn't give them the right materials to study. Because they don't know, like, especially when you're in a new relationship, or even if you're in a long-term relationship and you've grown and you've changed or you've done whatever, that's why communication is so important. Hey, I need this. This is something that I need. And it's very hard for people who are traumatized and have abandonment issues, massive abandonment issues, because if you say what you need, I wouldn't test anyone. They just need to be patient to win my trust. Do you prove yourself instructions? No, you should know what you need to do. Exactly. Exactly. Here's the test. Here's the test. Okay, what am I testing on? Oh, here it is. Just take it. Good luck.
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
That.
Right? Yeah. We learn. What's sad is we learn this. These things don't happen to us like out of the blue. We suddenly decide we're going to do this. We've learned this. We've learned it from our friends who did it. We've learned it now from the internet, from pop psychology, from TikTok. We see it, and I think it's worse now because of social media and being able to share these, especially and they become TikTok trends. And people are like, well, their boyfriend showed up, or I'm gonna wonder how mine is going to show up, or girlfriend, or whatever.
The orange peeling, like it's stupid shit like that. The orange peeling, like, and it comes off as, oh, will he peel your orange for you, or ask him to do something, or oh, here's another one that's like the pop psychology is the whole my husband or boyfriend or wife or whatever is on a Zoom call in a meeting, and I'm just going to come back and see what they do if they're naked, and if they don't drop everything because then they must not really be into you. How fucking disrespectful are you to not respect their work time?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's cute when you're like they're gaming or whatever, but not. Yeah. There's appropriate times for that, but you choose that this is a cute trend that I want to prove that my partner is really attracted to me, and I'm going to put it on the fucking internet.
That's the other part. One is the test, and the other is you're putting it out there on the entire internet for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. There's the what happens if someone hits on you in public? What if someone tries to kiss you? What if someone tries to do this or do that? You're like there's a lot of them out there.
Have your best friend hit on your partner.
Yes, that one. You're creating. It's called entrapment. You're creating the situation, and then you're surprised when, like, what are you expecting to happen from here?
But first off, even if they say no and they turn it down, see, like I can trust my best friend and my boyfriend or my best friend and my husband together, blah, 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 because look at this. But the simple fact that you've got to go there in your head.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if they passed, says a lot more about you. The fact that you even crossed your mind to go, I'm going to test this theory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing self-inquiry and going, why do I have this trust issue? Why can't I trust them?
Yeah.
I don't need a partner. It makes my life so easy. And yes, I mean, and not having a partner does come with its benefits, but it also comes with its drawbacks. I mean, I'm not saying that I mean, there's drawbacks to any situation, but neither one of them are wrong. I'm just saying, I'm making that very clear, Austin. Neither one of them are wrong. Like, I totally agree with you. Like, there's a whole bunch of things, like, if you're not looking for it and you don't need it, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just drawbacks to both being romantic and not romantic, and needing a partner and not needing a partner. That's just a fact of life. There's always pros and cons to everything.
And testing isn't exclusive to romantic partners either.
Really?
Testing happens. Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
yeah,
that's correct.
I love how you just can't look me in the eye when you say that.
Yes, testing happens within friendships as well. So.
Oh yeah, and it's either way. It's not about the other person.
Yeah.
It's about you. It means that you can't extend that trust to them. But. Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. We can either go with the last one, or we can go with one that's not on the list. Which one do you want?
Oh, I don't know which one's not on the list, so
it's a surprise.
The last one is pretty poignant. That's pretty applicable for me. Which one do you want to go with? You know what's in your head if that's not on the list, so.
Go ahead. You can do the last one.
Okay. So not able to delegate or ask for help without spiraling. Yeah, that one's a struggle for me. The asking for help or saying what I want and what I need is extremely difficult for me. It's something that I absolutely still struggle with. is saying, and whether it's friends or a romantic partner, is this is, and I can sit here and go, I know I have to be able to say it, because if I don't say it, then how can they do it if they don't know what the expectation is? How can they, how can we talk about it if they, and I know that, and I still have difficulty saying, hey, this is what I want, or can we do this? This is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. This is an expectation. How does this, whenever just the thought, my therapist brought it up one time in a session, like, okay, this is your homework. And immediately I get triggered. Immediately I'm freaking out, going, oh God, this is my homework. This is what I got to do. I've got to tell someone, I got to communicate this. It scares me. It scares me because I don't trust the other person, and the friendship. I don't trust that. I think that my needs, my communicating what I need, what I want, asking for help, the relationship isn't strong enough. The other person doesn't care about me enough to stick around if I ask for something, or they'll just reject me because they don't care.
Mine was always in the past as a child. Like, and I said this like last week and several weeks this past month. Whenever I asked for help, I was told to figure it out myself. So I couldn't rely on other people. I couldn't trust other people to help me. I couldn't trust other people would do it right, because if somebody did it differently than I did, then I was responsible if somebody else got angry. So I'm just going to do it myself. I'll do it myself. Or if they didn't do it in the timeline I needed to be done because my anxiety was too far up, fine. I asked you to take out the trash, and 2 days later the trash is still there. Like, fine, I'll do it myself, because I can't rely on you. Mm-hmm. Not, hey, they were sick, or hey, they were tired, or hey, maybe they have it, they're neurospicy, ADD, and they just fucking forgot because, object permanence, and hey, it just went in one ear out the other, because I've done that several times, and you're like, fuck, what the... No.
They did it on purpose.
They did it on purpose. And I don't trust people, and I'm not going to delegate, and I'm not going to ask them, because I can't rely on them. And if I can't rely on people, and if I did ask them and they did help me, it always came with strings, and it always came with a price tag. And 9 times out of 10, I did not agree to the price tag, and I didn't even know it was a cost. There was a cost to their help.
Yeah.
I helped you do this, so you're going to do that.
Yay, hyper independence. I'll just do it myself. I'll just do it myself. I don't, because I don't want to deal with all the other things that can happen from that, or I just don't feel like I don't feel like asking or talking, or I can't trust someone else. Or I'm just not going to say it. I'll just deal with it myself. It's not worth it. I'll just deal with it myself. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, no, I'm skipping the off one, and because we're sort of running out of time because we started late. Yeah, it's like because we started late. But this last segment is important that we talk about. More effort to ask and do it myself. Yeah, because then you have to explain exactly how you want it done, because you don't trust them to do it correctly. And then correctly. Yes. You don't ask them to do the dishes because they're not doing it. And then when you ask them to do it, they're not doing it the right way. And it's the whole, it's like, it's less trouble if I do it. No, actually, again, it's the control issues, because you don't trust them, because, it all comes back at you, and it's a whole thing. Oh, look at that. It's all ties in together. With you don't trust shit. The difference between healthy trust and blind trust. So the reality is that healthy trust is earned slowly by consistent behavior. And just like Asta said, it takes months. You need to be patient. I'm not going to trust you right off the bat, and that's okay. That is actually very healthy. Never allowing that person in is not healthy. Always hold that. Again, that's testing the person whether you can trust them, and testing that person. But it's a slow thing. Hey, I'm going to choose to trust you in this situation, and trust is a choice. Trust is a choice. And that, unfortunately, a lot of times we choose not to trust because it's just safer that way for us. But it's a slow thing. And once you break that trust, once you give somebody a reason consistently to not trust you, and like for me, and I am the number one person that is going to say this, I am not the same person that I was in my 20s. So somebody that's coming back into my life now, or like I'm not going to automatically go, I don't know why you don't trust me. Well, because I gave you a lot of reason not to. And, maybe they'll never learn to completely trust me, and that's okay. I have to accept that. I have to accept that I can still grow, change, and be a trustworthy person and still be the reason that person doesn't trust me. And that's okay. That doesn't mean they hate me. That just means I have given them reasons not to. And I have to live with that because there are consequences to my actions. And it sucks. But that doesn't mean, and I am this also the same way, it doesn't mean that you can't learn to trust them differently. It's not a black and white thing. Trust is just like love. There are different types of love, and there are different amounts of trust, and there are different types of trust, and you have to learn and grow and adapt that. I'm way less paranoid than I was saying. Exactly. We grow, and it's slow. And maybe, and just because somebody says you should trust me, I've not given you a reason to trust me. I don't understand. I've given you all these. Doesn't mean that that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. To me, that's a bit of a red flag. Is if someone pushes, well, you should trust me. You should trust me. You should trust me. You should trust me. It can be. I think it depends on the situation.
It does. It depends on the person. Depends on the situation.
It depends on what has happened. Yeah.
It's when you are unwilling to give.
Yeah.
It's when you are sitting in the distrust of this person, the reasons that you can't trust them, instead of providing yourself and your nervous system new evidence. Are you like, okay, this person used to be like this, but they have changed, they have grown, they have developed, they have healed, and they are not that person now. I am not going to minimize the wound that they had left on me, but I am not going to live in that wound. And I am still 100% sitting and living in that. I am living in that. There's a bunch of stuff going on in my life where I live in that. And it's a struggle. And it is something that I talk about with my therapist all the time, because I want to live in the wound. And the reality is that I have to acknowledge, validate, and sit with and live with that wound, and not minimize it, not invalidate the wound. But I also have to be open to providing that other person the opportunity to create a new story, a new file. That old file doesn't go away, but I need to be able to create a new file to go with it. Because that means that, because then I'm giving myself evidence of growth. That's hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is like this. He says, Logan says it better. Trust isn't about, and this goes along with that. Trust isn't about being naive. It's about taking small risks. So you're making the new file, and that small risk, and you're putting that new piece of paper in that file. Okay, well, they did that. I'm still feeling anxious, but here's the new evidence. Here's that piece of paper. Okay. Well, I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to choose to, and it is a choice, and it is hard. And the harder and the more traumatized you are, the harder it is to make choices. And we've talked about this. Having hard conversations and choices, and living in our trauma. But we have to take the small risks. We have to take the small steps. You know what? I mean, for me, it was, I'm going to go live and talk about my shit. And sometimes like that is big.
That is a big step. Yeah. And no one else defines what those small steps, big steps are. My struggle is allowing for any risks. especially with newer people, is, well, actually I say with anybody, is giving them the opportunity, giving them, okay, here's a small risk. I just don't give them any risks. I don't allow for any opportunity for vulnerability or growth, because, well, they're just going to hurt me anyway. I can't trust them anyway, so I'm not even going to give them anything to work with. The other is, you're talking about this, having a new file. It is okay. So I may say, okay, well, here's a new. Actually, I don't know if I've done the new file. For me, it's like, okay, we're just going to stack on top of the old one. The problem is that old one still contains so much stuff.
Gets lost into you get lost in it.
It gets, exactly. And so I think my struggle is that I'm not creating a new file. I'm really just stacking it on top of all the stuff that's already there.
And the reason that that's problematic, and I'm not saying that's for you and your therapist to talk about, but the reason for me that is very problematic, why I have to create a new file and new evidence of old and new, is when your brain and nervous system go and this is all the things I've talked about in my therapy session. So this is something that I've already talked about with my therapist, is that when your brain is reaching back into the file, when you are triggered, because that's what happens when you are triggered, your brain goes to that file.
Yes.
And you're digging through the file. You don't see the new versus the old. All you see is it's all mixed together, so it muddies up. And you're because you're triggered, you're not going and sorting through, okay, well, here's this paper proves that they didn't, but here's this that they did, and here's this that they didn't. No, it all just like you can skip letters, your brain, that you've dialed in the test where the letters are all missing, but you can still read the text. That's what happens. So you have to go to that new file and go, okay, what evidence in the new file have they recently done? And that new file may contain some things where they've hurt you, but does the
weight? It's the weight of it. The old file is so heavily weighted to the negative that any positive, everything, no matter how many positive they do, it's just going to get lost in that shuffle of the of the old. And so because that came up in my therapy, is like, I was thinking, why am I having such a difficulty trusting? And it's like, well, because you're not trying to trust. You're not trying to, like, we was talking about, trusting after the reboot and all that, like, because you're not trying to trust her. You're trying to trust the person that she was 20 years ago. And there's so much that happened between you 20 years ago that everything is getting just lost. You're seeing her from 20 years ago. You're not seeing the file from today, from the reboot, from, all the things that your friendship involves now. So recompile bad code, you still get a bad file. There you go. Thanks, Jay. That helps.
Oh, and as you said, red flags when people demand trust immediately. Yeah, that is one of that. Yeah. And green flags in relationships that actually help rebuild trust. So, like, they take accountability, because safe people, they are consistent. They are accountable for when they do break your trust, and they don't punish the vulnerability. They don't weaponize vulnerability. Yeah. Those are safe people. And sometimes, even though when we're presented with those safe people, it takes time to it just like any time, like you adopt a pet from a shelter that they've been abused, and it takes time for them to trust. And even then, if they learn to trust you, they might not trust other people still, and that's okay. That's because that's your relationship with them, and you had to build that trust over time that you were a safe person. Oh, fuck. Okay, I didn't need Logan to come after me like this.
Oh, God.
Healing the trust wound. You don't heal trust issues by waiting to feel ready. You heal by taking small, safe risks and experiencing different outcomes.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Logan.
If you know, you know. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
That one comes up in therapy a lot.
if you know, you know, in my life. And you know what? That's still personal, very personal to me. And I'm not going to call that out. I'm just saying, Sean knows. Sean knows.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking shit.
Moving on.
No, because right now that is something I'm dealing with, like something major in my life that I'm dealing with, and it's I'm struggling with that hardcore because it's very much not small risks. It's very much right now it's big risks, and yeah. Logan with the oof.
Yeah, Logan has a tendency to do that.
Us too.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on past that. Therapy is often where safe trust gets practiced first. It does.
Yeah.
You have to be honest with your therapist.
Yeah, you do. You gotta be honest with your therapist. Not be honest with your therapist is not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I made that mistake. There's a period of time where I was taking the easy road for therapy. Yeah. That didn't. Yeah, right. I know me. What, taking the easy way out? No.
I called your ass out on that one.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and now I tell that's when I was looking for a new therapist. That's one of the things I was like, I need someone who's going to call me out and not let me easy mode my therapy. So, yeah.
So yeah, that's one. You have to take risks, and it takes me a month to trust therapy. It does too. It does take time because they are new, and they should. But you should over time, like the first few sessions, because they're still getting to know you, and you're still getting to know them, so you shouldn't just like dump everything on them right away. I mean, obviously hit the highlights, but yeah, it takes time to trust. I didn't trust my therapist right away, the one I have right now, until I went through a really bad time, and she was there, and she saw the ugly, and she didn't judge me. And she, these past couple of months, I've been talking about the same subject over and over for weeks. And I even this past week, I said, I feel like you're just tired of hearing me talk about this. And she and that whole, and she's like, no, you need to talk about it. I'm actually glad you're talking about it because you need to process and your brain is struggling to process.
Yeah.
And trauma fucking sucks. And when she said that, I went, okay, all right.
Yeah,
my brain went, okay, I have permission to talk about this as long as I need to and as much as I need to because I'm still struggling with it. And she cares about me and she understands. She goes, trauma fucking sucks, and I wish I could take it away from you. And I know that your trauma is driving the bus right now, and that you're trying very hard to take. Jesus ain't taking the wheel. You're trying to take the wheel, and that's hard. That's hard for you, and it's okay. And if you need to talk about it, I will be happy to talk about it. And she's like, and I'm glad you're talking about it because, and she said this to me, because for the first time, you're struggling because you are considering everything, and that includes yourself. And that was the first time somebody actually said that out loud to me, and I went, so she's pointing out what I can't see. And it's like, oh, okay. Don't ride the trauma bus. All their destinations. I wish. I'm trying to get off. Apparently, I'm trying to get off this trauma bus. I really, really am. I have all the worksheets and the journals and the shit, and it is not working now. Sometimes this trauma, it's very speed. It's like you gotta stay like right above 60 and move over. And I'm like, fucking no. I want to slow down. I want to get off this bus.
But just when you get off the trauma bus, then you're staying there at the bus stop going, something's not right.
Right. Chosen family and community is safe proving grounds. Ooh. But you have to learn how to trust those people, and that takes time. And
you have to give them the opportunity to trust. I'm calling myself out here. I have to, because that's my thing. Is like I've got chosen family. I've got people that want to. They're like, let me love you, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And then my therapist goes, so what have they done for you not to trust? Nothing. Have they done anything to show you that yes, and you don't trust it? No.
I'm just leaving that there. Again, that's another one that we're just going to leave right there. If we left the first one alone for me, and we're going to leave that one alone for you. Wants me to journal, but it's traumatic for me thanks to my foster dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you my issues that I had with journaling in the beginning. Snakes on a plane and Con Air, something. Yep. So Asta, I had trouble with journaling for a long time too, because I had many people, my parents, other people, partners, invade my privacy because I would journal, and then they would read it because they felt they had the right to, because if I was being private about something, then I was actually being secretive about something. And so I never journaled correctly. I never wrote anything correctly. I would actually get like 5 pages into a new journal and just abandon it because my brain was like, okay, you're starting to get too real. It's like a relationship, just like, oh, I'm getting too vulnerable, I'm going to abandon it. Same thing with journaling. I'm getting too real, I'm going to abandon it, because if I get too real, if I start saying things, then they're going to find it and I'm going to be in trouble. When I had to really force myself to journal and write things down, because I would process that way and learn how to be really, really honest. But what helped me is that, especially to learn how to trust the journaling, is I would write it down, tear it up, rip it, throw it away, or flush it. Because I journaled, that was the point. The point was that I was journaling. The point is not to go back and read it. The point is to get it out on paper and to organize your thoughts. Afterwards, rip it up, throw it away, because I'm not looking back anymore. I said what I needed to say to myself, and I processed my things. And if I need to reprocess it, I'll just rewrite it. But that helped me feel safe to say what I needed to say. And over time, I stopped throwing it away because I stopped being afraid. But that was absolutely something I had to do to learn how to be honest in my journaling. And it's okay. And that is okay. You don't, so that is a tip from somebody who had a lot of trauma to learning to journal and journal honestly. No, but no one is here, so I should be able to journal safely. Yes, see, Asta, I'm the same way. I live in a house with me and my 2 kids. Like, I don't have anybody here. Nobody's gonna be like, but I still had that hang up.
The nervous system doesn't care,
and your brain and your trauma does that. So that's what I did. Is I would write and I would tear out the pages and throw it away. Rip it up. That's a big thing. Rip it up and throw it away, or flush them, or whatever. Because that is retraining your brain, going, I still did the thing that I needed to do, and I am putting myself in a safety measure to be safe. And so that's what. So don't think I should be able to. That's fine. Just accept that, yes, I have that trauma, but there are ways that you can build that trust in yourself and your space. Okay, we've running long, so I know, because we started late. But healing the trust wound, the grief of realizing how much trust was stolen from you early on, being pissed off at your parents for just raising you to be distrustful of yourself and of life and of people. Because that's where it starts. It always where it starts.
It starts with the caregivers.
Yeah. And then... okay.
I was gonna say, you want me to read that one?
Sean? Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, giving yourself grace for how long the healing takes. I am guilty of going, why am I still dealing with this? Why am I not healed? Why am I not healing fast enough? Why am I still talking about this one? Grief is, or your healing is going to take as long as it takes. And so
it's going to look different.
It's going to look different for everybody. And my journey is my journey. And the only, when you get into I should, it's all the shoulds. As my therapist says, you're just shoulding all over yourself. You should stop. You stop.
Mine says that too.
So the healing is going to take as long as it takes.
Mm-hmm. And it looks different.
Yep.
And because somebody is able to trust more, trust easily, able to move on, able to forgive, able to heal, able to whatever, faster than you are does not mean that you're broken, because that's what I'm struggling with right now. I have trust issues, and there are certain things in my life right now that I'm struggling to trust, and I am struggling to feel safe in, and I'm struggling and choices and decisions that I have to make that I am struggling to trust and struggling and but that doesn't mean that I'm wrong. That just means that they have processed quicker than I have, and that I may be still having to deal with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But it's frustrating, especially it's so frustrating, and I can understand the frustration because I get angry at myself, and I did that last session. I want to be able, and I think that I've gotten to that point in my processing where I'm beyond the pussyfooting around and just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I am angry at myself because I'm like, I want to fucking get it over with. I want to fucking be sure. I want to fucking be done with this. I want to, everybody else is able to make choices and decisions and trust people and trust situations and trust, but I can't. And why can't I? And I got angry about it. And she's like, it sounds like you're very angry in the place where you're sitting in a place that you need to be giving yourself more grace. You need to be giving yourself more grace, not less. And that's what you're doing right now, which is why it's prolonging this. And I was like, that was another situation where I'm like, okay, well, congratulations. You earned your paycheck today. You're like, I was like, because I sat there like she had slapped me in the face. And I'm like, oh. Because your body and your brain and your nervous system is struggling with this choice because you are angry that you haven't made this choice, and so you not only are putting the pressure on yourself.
Yep. Yeah, mine talked. I learned that one early on with IFS was like meta emotions. I'm having an emotion about my emotions. I am angry, and usually it's anger, frustration about, And he's like, you can't deal with the core thing. You can't deal with that until you deal with the meta emotions.
Yes.
And he said, not to get too deep, but you can have meta emotions on top of meta emotions.
You have emotions about your emotions.
Emotions about your emotions.
About your emotions. And it's like painting over wallpaper. So you have wallpaper on the pretty hardwood. You have wallpaper, and then you paint over that, and then you paint over that.
You put more wallpaper.
And then you put on more wallpaper, and then you put on that, and you're like, okay, well, I don't want any of this, but it's looking ugly. Why is it looking ugly? Because you gotta strip away the paint
one at a time.
Until you finally get down to the core situation that you actually need to be having the feeling about.
That's it. Yep, absolutely. That's how it works. So you have to deal with them one at a time. And there's nothing wrong with this happening. It is the nature of the thing.
Right.
Because getting angry about getting angry is just one more layer. So it starts.
Yeah, I don't need you calling my ass out. I don't need you.
I'm calling myself out. So it's giving yourself grace for the healing is going to look like the way it looks and take as long as it takes, and it's going to be different. So,
okay. All right. Well, I have to go. Speaking, it is Father's Day here, and happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there, those fur daddies, those daddies. I mean, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, in whatever capacity.
And even if you're not, even if you're childless, and that's whatever. Like, happy Sunday. Yeah. And even if today is a day that triggers you and makes you angry and upset, and maybe you didn't have the great father or something, it's okay. I want you to know that it is safe for you not to want to celebrate this day. I feel the same way about Mother's Day, personally. Even though I have great children. I have one that's just standing there being goofy right now. I have great children. I enjoy being a mother. I don't enjoy celebrating Mother's Day because it triggers me. For my relationship with my mother. So it's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay for this day to suck. It's absolutely okay. whatever capacity you want to celebrate today in. So anyway, I gotta go because we started late and I had trauma. And so thanks for joining us. And next week we'll be at Comic Palooza.
We will be.
Yes. So the Hatchlings will be making an appearance. And yeah.
So make sure you're following us.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm getting the hurry up signal from my producer.
Right.
Nice.
All
right.
Wait.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Did you really just high five over me right
No,
now?
we didn't.
Okay, we're live. Hello.
Last week,
You don't even do that well from the front seat.